Hi, I'm Karu. Welcome to Sequentially Yours, Initially Mine. This is the show where I give my first impressions of a book that I have just read, and I've got a brand new one for you guys. But first, let's talk a little programming here. I'm thinking that for this show, what I'm going to strive to do, unless I have a specific book in mind, is go to the comic store fresh and pick up a number one of a new series, if at all possible. That way I'm giving not only my first impressions of the book, but the first impressions that the book is giving the audience, as best as I can interpret them from my perspective. So that is what this is going to be, and I reserve the right to change things as we go on. So let's get started. Today we are talking about Red One from Image Comics. Writer is Xavier Dorison, and we have Terry Dodson on pencils, Rachel Dodson on inks. So I literally just finished this one, and I have sort of mixed feelings about it. I like the concept. Let me tell you how I kind of came across it. The costume, I will freely admit, before I was heading to the comic store, I was listening to the last episode of Digital Drift, which is a podcast where they talk about movies, and they were talking about the Fast and the Furious franchise, specifically movies 3 and 4, and I will flat out admit this struck me because they also talked about Initial D, and they were talking about racing stuff, and she looks like a racer in this. It really does look sort of like a racing outfit, and there is driving involved. I'll get to that in a minute, but suffice it to say, I picked it up, and on the back I got, "What happens when America's greatest superhero is a Russian spy?" Okay, that got my attention. So I ended up picking that up with a couple other things. This is the one that really struck me, though, that I felt I had something to say about. Suffice it to say, though, Red One, the basic premise is our main character is a Russian who has spent most of her life being trained to be the absolute very best, basically special forces type person. This is the explanation for her amazing fighting ability and whatnot. Strangely enough, they did not really train her to be a spy. So it's a little bit of a misnomer on the back. She's not really a spy. She doesn't understand how you blend into a place. She doesn't understand. They give her absolutely no instruction before sending her to America. The basic concept here is that in America there is a superhero known as the Carpenter, who is a fundamentalist religious fanatic that kills people who that he or she feels are immoral in some respect. The comic starts out with the Carpenter killing a actress, I believe a porn actress, I'm pretty sure a porn actress. Or it might just be somebody in very racy scenes, but there's a lot of implication going along. Suffice it to say, the Carpenter is tied to a fanatical religious group, right-wing religious group that just keeps growing with every kill that he has. More and more people, there are copycats and people are falling into it. So essentially the Russians are sending our main character over to America to be a superhero, a pro-Soviet superhero. This takes place in Los Angeles, 1977, so middle of the Cold War. But they don't want this guy this Carpenter, who is very anti-communist, very anti-gay, very kind of, anti-everything that you would expect him to be anti. They really want somebody who is going to present a better face, so they kind of play on Americans' love of comic books, and they say worship, but I think that's one of those, the Russians are misinterpreting Americans' things of comic book heroes. And the idea is that if they present another comic book style superhero, that person will also start winning hearts and minds. It's actually a kind of clever little plot. They do a good job of characterizing our main character, and giving her sort of a background and an inner life that is really somewhat deep for a first issue. Um, I especially like that, she comes. It starts with her coming home to this couple's apartment, and it makes it pretty clear that she, pays for it and whatnot. And at first, it seems like they're just friends, but as the comic goes on, you realize that she is in a relationship with both of them, and that when she has to leave again, they think she's an engineer going to Siberia, not going to America to infiltrate and become a superhero. It's just this really heartbreaking scene and very well done and very, it's a page, maybe three-quarters of a page, but it is so well done and so well set up. I was very, very impressed. There are a couple of bits that I'm just a little iffy on, but for the most part, this seems like a very well-rounded character, an interesting character. Book one sort of ends with her just getting her super costume, which it's made of titanium, and it has, it's a fabric with titanium interlaced in it or something. I don't know. It's no more ridiculous than any other superhero origin or suit creation. That being said, though, yeah, it was a really pleasant read with characters who are both fun and very, very human, and I'm looking forward to issue 2, actually. So, if you get a chance... Oh, and I'm just going to show you a little bit of the art here, because there's some really good... Here, this is them giving her briefing. The shading is good, her reactions are good, her facial expressions are good. Look at this one. I'm here. It's all very just well put together and well conceived, and while the beginning seemed a little unstable, once we got with our main character, Vera really just... Vera won me over. So, anyway, if you get a chance, check out Red One. I think you might like it. In the meantime, I don't know what your opinion is, but this one was initially mine. Take care.